I smell something. It smells delicious. It smells like bacon and tasty video games. That means one thing. It is time for the Nerd Bacon podcast right here at twitch.tv/nerdbacon, mixer.com/nerdbacon, youtube.com/nerdbacon. We're on Smashcast now, which is a new thing that we have no idea what it is, but we're figuring it out. And also your audio formats on Spotify, on Anchor, on Podbean, on Stitcher, NerdBacon.com. I am Jeff Roth, editor in Awesome at NerdBacon.com.
I'm Dave the Watchman with NerdBacon.com.
And I'm Level Up Justin from NerdBacon.com.
Justin, you're judging by your hat and your shirt, I'm betting you're a fan of a certain baseball team.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Do you want to announce who that team, for people who are checking the audio version?
That would be the Boston Red Sox, who just laid a 8-2 whooping on the defending world champion Houston Astros after a grand slam by Jackie Bradley Jr. So
the thing is that I love being a Cubs fan, but now that they've been eliminated, I can move on to other sports like hockey, which is a sport that matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Dave, you just got a treat there. What's going on?
First, I was gonna comment first that it's still hard for me to get used to the Houston Astros being in the American League now.
Yeah.
But how many years have they been in the American League? It's been like 20 years now.
No, it's been like, what, 5 or 6 at this
point?
Point?
Okay, so 5 years, half a decade, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's still, but it's still, I'm not used to it because I grew up with them in the National League.
Well,
right.
Milwaukee was in the American League for a long time, too, before they came to the NL Central.
But, I think it's because the Astros played the Cubs. I was going to say, I think it's because Milwaukee plays the Cubs so often that it seems natural to me. But then again, Houston used to play the Cubs all the time.
Yeah, they were also in the NL Central for a long time.
Yep.
Anyways, what you get?
Lovely Lauren, seconds before we were about to go on, brought me a lovely hot fudge milkshake from Sonic.
Ooh.
Now, this isn't advertising for Sonic or anything. This is just something that happened. Although, funny story, the guys in the Sonic commercial, TJ Jagodowski, was actually an improv coach of mine when I lived in Chicago.
Which one is him?
He's the one that is he's got the lighter color hair.
He's the comic relief as opposed to the more serious guy?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
And then we also have a new follower on Twitch, and I apologize, I don't know if I can pronounce your name. It's P as in Paul, ZVPN_rug. So P_rug, thank you so much for giving us a follow.
P-Rug!
I apologize that I'm too ignorant at the moment to pronounce that name.
Can we just go with
if you can type it in phonetically in the chat, we'll shout it out.
We'll see if Dave can read.
Well, can we just go with P-Rug? Is P-Rug okay?
P-Rug. Dave, you've got your hot fudge milkshake. I've got my last fruit punch packet of my G Fuel. I ordered some new. Call me Rug. You got it. We'll call you Rug.
What's up, Rug?
I just ordered my second shipment of G Fuel, which should be here next week. I got 4 new flavors coming. It's going to be, I got orange, I've got rainbow sherbet, I've got tropical rain, and strawberry shortcake.
What in the world does tropical rain taste like?
I don't know. I'm hoping it's like a Baja Blast, like the Mountain Dew Baja Blast, kind of like that. I'm assuming there'll be like some mango stuff, so I'll probably hate it. But
yeah,
I'm not a mango.
It's gonna be
mango person. Mango and coconut are kind of the two things I don't like.
It'll be like mango and banana.
They do have a mango flavor, and they also have like a golden apple mango, golden apple pear, which sounds interesting until I got to the pear.
Maybe a mango armada.
Now that's a hidden Smash reference.
So the G Fuel, Broadway girl, G Fuel has no affiliation with Gatorade. I thought that too when I first bought it. G Fuel, G for Gatorade.
That's what I was thinking when you first showed it.
Yeah, there's no affiliation with Gatorade. G is for the Gamma Labs. So Gamma Labs is the company that makes it. Also, I'm assuming G could stand for gamer because they target towards gamers.
Doesn't it have a lightning bolt in its logo though, right?
Does not. There's the...
Why was I thinking there was a lightning bolt in there?
Because you are a silly person.
What the heck am I imagining? I just see lightning bolts wherever I go.
Everywhere you go, you see lightning bolts. It's fine.
Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt.
Should we talk video games? Why we're here?
Yeah, it seems like the right thing to do.
We could probably do that.
Yeah, Star Wars new TV show happening. Just kidding. I mean, there is a new Star Wars TV show happening.
Who's putting that out? What network?
John Favreau is directing it. It's called The Mandalorians. It's all based on the space bounty hunters like Boba Fett and Jango Fett and all them. I'm interested because I love The Mandalorians and I love John Favreau. So
they've got to do a lot to win me back because of how much I hated Episode 8. Apparently, I'm a Russian bot. Did you guys?
You heard here first.
Did you guys see that story that came out saying somebody put out a study claiming that all of the hate that Star Wars Episode 8 got was because people were influenced by Russian propaganda. And I was just like,
oh, God.
How amazing was that? That before I saw any reviews, as I was sitting there, not even a third of the way into the movie, Russia was able to hack into my brain and influence me into hating what I was seeing. So that
they planted in your
by
brain
the time the end game of the movie was arriving, I was just like laughing at it because it was so absurdly bad. That is some amazing stuff, Russia. Congratulations, Russia. Congratulations.
The story of Red
your
Alert
hacking
came true.
was that good.
Thanks P-Rug for the couple of biddies there in Shamrock.
Thanks
appreciate
so much.
that. Very nice.
Anyway, I digress. I thought it was funny.
Well, once we talk about Star Wars, Dave just goes off on a freaking tangent because Dave is very animated about Star Wars. I hated Rogue One. I have not seen Solo yet. I've not seen Last Jedi yet because you had so much vitriol about it.
I haven't seen Solo. I've seen half of Rogue One. I've seen 7 and 8, but yeah, I'm not. They just put them out so quick. They just need to chill out for a second.
7 got so much hate. I liked 7. I thought 7 was really.
I love 7.
I thought it was.
I thought 7 was good.
Yeah. I just thought it was fun, and I liked the characters. I liked that they brought like this sense of play back into it, and I thought that was really missing since like Star Wars, like the very first one, Episode 4. That was just something that was missing in the series.
Very reminiscent of the story of 4 as well. There's a lot of parallels with that, which is kind of nice.
But then they brought
I thought 7 was really fun. I agree.
The next movie I need to see is Venom. I need to see Venom.
Yeah. Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa.
And Sonic agrees.
I better edit that out. What was the name of that?
All right, let's talk delicious video gaming. Should we start with the big Google project that Dave had a chance to get his fingers and his eyeballs on?
Project Stream, that's right. So this is, let's see, it's because Disney is trying to get a bunch of movies out for their stream service. That is a good point, Broadway.
Yeah, that new streaming service coming out. Well,
anyway, Google Project Stream. So this is the new AAA. And every time I say that now, I can't think of anybody else but Jim Sterling saying AAA.
I think of the wrestling company who does awful pay-per-views.
Anyway, so this is Google's entry into the game market. This is what we've been telling people about since right before E3. Hey, Google's getting into the gaming industry. They're developing a platform. It's going to be revolutionary. This is it. Project Stream. So for those who aren't aware of it, what it does is it allows you to stream a console quality experience to your Chrome browser. Doesn't matter what type of PC you're running. You could be running $100 machine, some notebook or something like that. No fancy graphic cards needed or anything like that. It just, all you need is an internet connection with at least 25 megs down a second. So
sure. Okay.
We pay Mediacom for 200. They give us about 50 in reality. Mediacom is a terrible company. Just wanted to throw that out there, and I will edit that out.
I've had no problem with them, but go on.
I'm just saying, when I'm getting a fourth of what I pay for, I should only be paying a fourth of the bill.
Yeah, I'll just really quickly dive into what Dave is talking about really, really fast. When we first started this show, and I lived in St. Louis, Missouri, I had a very similar competitor called Charter Spectrum or Charter Communications, and I paid for 100. And no matter if on the, I didn't run two Wi-Fi connections, and I just ran the one. Am I breaking up a little bit?
A little bit
intermittent there.
Okay,
sounds like Mediacom is at it again.
And that's just it.
They heard you.
This could be an exact example, because in St. Louis, Missouri, I had Charter Spectrum, and we paid for a 100 on 2.4 gigahertz. I never had a problem. Any speed test we ran was 100 to sometimes 120, even on 2.4. I come back here, I run my own modem, I run my own router. It's no different than what I was doing down there. And on 2.4, we're lucky to get 60. And on the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi channel, I'll pull down 225 sometimes. But I don't understand. Dave's right. They shouldn't. I've called and complained and like, well, that's what the maximum is you're going to get. Well, then I'm not going to pay for like you said 50.
Why am I paying the maximum? Anyway, that's enough digression. So
because business.
So
hopefully the Mediacom Nazis didn't slow me down and chatter or make me break up anymore.
We'll see. Anyway, Project Stream. So they they announced this at the beginning of October, started doing beta invites for this thing. They teamed with Ubisoft to let people play Assassin's Creed Origins, full game, or not Origins, Odyssey. Thank you. Full game. Don't have to pay anything for this. So I got into the test, and let me tell you something, boys. It is out of this world, really. It really is kind of fascinating and scary just how good the experience is. The thing that gets me, there are a lot of times when there are graphic hiccups.
Okay.
So we'll see, like, the resolution will drop, things will get fuzzy, you'll see a little bit of artifacting, like a video buffering, basically. Right. And I get that because, that's a lot of information that's just having trouble keeping up.
Right.
The thing that gets me, though, is the lack of noticeable latency. And I'm not really used to playing Assassin's Creed games, so I felt that it was, like, spot on with your movements. Like, it was almost a one-to-one experience. You might have seen, like, maybe a half-second delay when it was, running top. But it wasn't anything that I felt could affect your gameplay at all. Now, Lauren, the lovely Lauren, my much better half, she is an Assassin's Creed connoisseur. Yeah. And we hadn't picked up Odyssey yet. I always confuse Odyssey and Origin. And there she is right now. She said that it felt a little jerky to her. Now, I think we were playing on a Friday night, so there might have been a lot more traffic. But that's what she said. She said it felt a little bit more jerky compared to what she is used to playing on a console.
Okay.
But with that being said, and there were times as well when the connection was really lagging behind. And I think there were some problems on my end with the internet. And there were some problems where you really did notice some lag. Like, you would press the controller down and it would take like 2 or 3 seconds for him to move.
Sure.
But that was a very rare experience. For the most part, it's been phenomenal.
So
very,
could
very
you play
impressive.
through, because that game could be 50, 60 hours if you stretch out all there's doing it and see. Could you see yourself, or I guess Lauren can answer this too, could you see yourself playing that entire game that way, or could you go to a point where it's too frustrating, it's too not one-to-one, and that would drive you nuts?
I think it's entirely possible. I don't think I would prefer it, at least at this point, to play it fully streaming, but it's definitely a solution if you're somebody who just wants to jump in and play like a first-person shooter or something like that, or even a game like Spider-Man, or I'm looking at my game collection right now. Like, let's take Knack. if somebody wanted to play a kind of a light game like Knack, I could see playing through the entire game streaming.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because with everything that you just said, and then the little bit that I know, not from experience, a little bit you've said, and then everything I've read and heard, if I played something like you said, Knack, Mega Man, Mario, probably wouldn't be a huge deal, right? I mean, maybe some of those you got to be a little bit more pinpoint, like precision, but like where it would get me would be like a competitive online multiplayer, because if it's not one to one, that's where like. What if I'm playing with Jeff and Jeff's got a better connection than I do for whatever reason, and then, something happens, and next thing you know, because my connection isn't one-to-one, I'm obviously not getting the shots off just in, before the opponents. So that'd be my only concern. But it sounds like for like a game like you're talking about, it wouldn't be too bad,
Right.
I imagine a game like, let's just say, Cuphead or Super Meat Boy. You don't want to do this on this kind of platform. So stuff like that you wouldn't want to either, because those are pinpoint accuracy platformers, shooter style games that are already hard enough as it is. So you don't need to incorporate the extra finicky thing. And yeah, I think she was saying it took time to get used to, how to use the new controls of the game. First of all, that game was reviewing very well. That game is like the best reviewed game of the series, which is quite a statement for that series. And to play that on a new tab in Google Chrome blows my mind.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm running some speed tests right now because I kind of want to add it into the stream here.
It just says LOL.
Yeah, it basically is. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to stream this. We'll see. But yeah, I think the next big test for this is, how does a racing game do? How does a competitive shooter do? And then you work your way up to our holy grail. How does a fighting game do?
How does Soul Calibur 6 hold up with this?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a great question. And here's the thing: a lot of these fighting games now are kind of factoring in latency. And they're building in a little bit of input lag to their fighting engine. I know that's something that Tekken 7 did, Street Fighter 5 did it famously, which, by the way, they're releasing a patch with their next big update for Street Fighter 5, which is going to reduce some of that lag.
Does it make the game good?
I think we should re-review that game. I think it's good. I don't think it's great, but
it's came a long freaking way.
Sure. I'll give you that.
It got a little bit. I mean, every update has definitely got it to where, at some point, it got to a point where that's what it should have been on release day.
Arcade Edition made it the game it should have been.
Anyway, to put a bow on Project Stream,
yes,
it's very impressive. And it's only going to get more impressive as the future goes on. It definitely blows PlayStation Now out of the water. At least when I tested it back when they were rolling that thing out. I got into that beta as well. And really cool concept at the time, but you had to be tied to like your PlayStation 4 and everything. This you don't, just wherever you are. And then when you think about it, Microsoft with their Project X Cloud that they're going to be rolling out starting next year, that's going to be able to be used on any device, whether it's an Xbox or a PC or your cell phone or a tablet. So that's going to get wild. We know Apple is going to roll something similar out. So streaming is definitely the wave of the future, and it's interesting to see what they're doing technologically on the back end to make it a feasible solution for people going forward.
Sure. Lauren in chat, how do you think this service will compare with gaming on the PC with a fighting game or like Steam? I think it will take some time for at least the FGC to come around to this, because you are reliant on. First of all, if you're a competitive gamer, you're playing at tournaments with somebody in the same room as you.
Right.
So no real issue there. But you have to factor in the latency. You have to figure in the lag. And if that's not consistent, like it is when you have a downloaded game or a physical copy of the game, then that throws all your training off too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it will and even with Steam, I think it'll take them to prove that this is feasible. They need to prove that this is going to be worth people's time before people gravitate towards it.
I think just as Smash fans, like Smash Melee fans, will always be playing Smash on an old CRTV and not a digital TV, I think the fighting game community at large will always be preferring actual hardware as opposed to a streaming experience. Maybe if they're on a trip or something away from home, they just need to kind of scratch that itch. Then streaming would be more feasible for them.
For casuals, sure. For casual gaming. But if you want to get serious about your fighting games and train for EVO, train for CEO, stuff like that, you're going to be doing it on actual hardware.
Right. But bottom line is that it's just an amazing piece of technology.
But will this affect Steam? Like if Google this Google thing, I forget what it's called already, Project Stream. If this becomes the official quote unquote Netflix of gaming, and you can just play games a la carte, let's just say, or you pay a subscription, you can stream whatever you want. Probably not going to happen. But if they go that route, does this affect Valve? Does this affect Steam?
That is a question that I had not considered, to be quite frank. And that's a great question.
Valve is huge. Valve is huge. Steam is huge. This is the way to buy games on the PC, period. And there's something to be said about that.
So we heard at the beginning of this year, remember there was that report that came out that said that Microsoft was targeting a bunch of companies, that they were interested in purchasing a number of companies, and one of them that was on the list was Valve. And EA was also on the list. I don't see Microsoft buying EA anytime soon, although I know some people that say that, it's possible.
They could swoop in and buy BioWare here before too long, but...
Right.
It would be nice if Microsoft just picked up BioWare, but I think BioWare's finished.
Right now, I think Obsidian's going to be like the next thing they pick up. But anyway.
Yeah, I think that's in the pipe.
There's some merit to that.
With this question now posed to me, how does something like Project Stream, how does that affect Valve? Maybe now is the time for Valve to look to Microsoft and actually partner up. I know Gabe Newell is not a big fan of Microsoft. I think he's an ex-Microsoft guy, but maybe now is the time. Maybe they're like, we got to keep our library relevant. How do we allow people to stream their Steam library anywhere they go? Instead of developing their own infrastructure, why not just partner with Microsoft and take advantage of Project xCloud?
Because those Steam machines have not been selling well. I mean, you look at Steam machines, Steam controllers, Steam Links, whatever.
Yeah.
They seem unnecessary. I don't have the numbers in front of me, obviously, to back that up with stats, but I can tell you that they're not a big seller. So if they can jump onto a company that knows how to make this stuff, knows how to market this stuff, and already has a built-in fan base, I think if that question gets posed to Valve, they should at least think twice about it.
Yeah, I would agree. But that's a great question. I hadn't really thought of how a streaming future would affect Valve, because Valve's not really into streaming.
Or would Valve just make their own? Would Valve just come in and just say, okay, we're going to do it our way. We're going to do streaming our way now. The Steam stream.
They might. I mean, that's definitely something that they could go down, but is that something that if they get into the game now to start working on that, that's a lot of ground for them to, I mean, that you're talking about 5 years minimum development to develop that infrastructure and all that technology for them to be able to offer that service at a competitive rate. So 5 years in the future, how much ground are they having to make up? Because you'll have Google out, you'll have Microsoft's Project xCloud out, you'll have Apple out with Apple TV, you might even have Amazon out at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's 4 huge, and then Sony, whatever they do, because they're not going to sit idly by. So that's 5 competitors in the streaming game. that they would have to somehow overcome. I think that's too much. That's 5-knuckle shuffle of doom right there.
Five years in the gaming world is an era. Like 5 years is a long time.
That's a generation. That's a console generation.
Yeah, and the world we live in now will be completely different in the gaming world in 5 years. So if they start now, when they finish, it may not matter.
That's absolutely true. That's good. I got it. Boy, that was delicious. Thank you, Lauren. If they have not started developing, if they're interested in streaming and they have not started developing that technology behind streaming yet, it's too late at this point because we're right on the cusp of that revolution. And streaming may not be, it is the future, but it's not the future. It's not like the future is now type of moment with Project Stream. Sure. It's a great preview of how we're going to see the industry shift in the next 3 to 5 years. But with that being said, it is legitimate. It is coming. And I don't think that there's any way to stop it.
Yeah, we could get that moment sooner than later too, because of what Xbox or Microsoft is doing next month with X018 or X018.
Oh yeah.
Then you've also got PlayStation's obviously not doing a PlayStation experience this year, which is kind of ironic in my opinion because you think about it. So people are like, oh, X018 or X018, oh, we're going to see the next Xbox or a streaming box or Scarlet or whatever. Oh, no PlayStation experience. Oh, we're going to see the next PS5 now. So, like, one's doing something, and we're going to see something. The other one's not doing anything, and we're going to see something. Right. So, essentially, I think that moment could come sooner than later.
Yeah.
But I do think, because of everything that's going on, but I do think you're right, Dave. I don't think it's like the future is now. It's more the future is here, and it's coming. It's just a matter of time because I think it's gonna be here before we know it.
Yeah, it just definitely, not to like be a braggart or anything like that, but it definitely makes me think back to what I wrote in a lot of my pre-E3, like the preface to all of my pre-E3 articles, which was enjoy E3 2018 because we're all going to look back and remember this as the E3 before everything changed.
Right.
And that is becoming truer and truer. I like that you mentioned the Xbox conference X018. We'll definitely, because we're going to stream X018. That's going to be Saturday, November 10th. I believe that's at 3 p.m. Central. Look at this man in that beautiful Xbox jersey. This man is on Team X. I'm wearing the Xbox colors. You got your Switch colors on.
Got my Sounders FC jersey on.
But anyway, if you want to hang out with us and enjoy all of the mayhem that is likely to occur at X018, we don't know what we're going to see. We might see Scarlet. Gabe Newell could walk on stage. Nintendo could walk on stage. We don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be...
Maybe nothing.
Maybe nothing will happen.
Maybe Al Capone's vault. Who knows?
But
maybe we get Conquer. Maybe we get Super Lucky Sale. We have no idea.
We can all digitally hold hands and enjoy the moment together and commentate on it together because we'll be streaming it live Saturday, November 10th. And, of course, on November 6th, Tuesday... the Level Up Lariat Show, or that's not what we're called anymore, just the NerdBacon podcast.
It's okay.
Anyway, November 6th will be our big X018 preview special. So you can watch us offer our predictions, our thoughts on what we're going to see live. And, of course, we want to hear from you as well. So definitely join in on those dates. Keep those calendars marked.
All right.
I'll shut up now.
Speaking of Microsoft, let's go to Sony. Thank you. Justin, either your camera is tilted or your posters are crooked. I'm freaking out right now. My OCD
is your house tilting?
That could be too.
Let me move that a little bit and see if that helps.
My OCD is killing me.
Justin, I live in a wacky castle.
He's like you live in like the Wonka factory there.
Oh, man.
It gets smaller as you walk down the hallway. Anyway, Sony did announce, boys, that what we've all been asking for since the PS3 era
might
actually come to fruition. and that PSN ID names can actually be changed soon.
Whoa.
Yep.
They still can't commit to they have commitment phobia. They can't actually commit to a date, but say it's coming soon. Many people are sticking with their names because it's something that they've had for so long. I'm changing mine the second it comes out.
Same.
Because it's something I used back in my PS3. And I want to keep my name across everything. So I got to change my Xbox name and everything too. But guys, Sony is finally buckling and giving us what we've been asking for a long time. Sony's finally listening.
I don't know if it's a case of them not listening before. I think it's just a case of somehow, some way, technologically, they weren't able to do it until now. And I don't know what those specifics are, but I think there was something. Oh my! You are in a wacky house
for a second.
I think that there was something that was preventing them from being able to make that allowance.
Yeah, I think they were just so focused on some of the so many other good projects that they've had in this life cycle, especially that like maybe that just wasn't one of the big things or big, objectives for them to accomplish. And now they're just kind of at the tail end. We're seeing the tail end of this generation. And so they're like, you know what, we can focus on the things like giving you the ability to change your PSN name or adding in some more backwards compatibility. There's been a lot of like small talk on this.
Not having messages break your system.
Right. Or maybe fixing, because again, I guess they were down again today for a little bit. That's just, maybe it was just something that, hey, we're at a spot where we can do something on this and not worry about other things. And that's great. I think it's actually really cool that they are finally giving it to us, because we have been speculating that this was going to come for quite some time, or at least just wanting it. We all joked about it happening at E3. Obviously posing the question, would you change your name if you had the ability to? And
yes,
I just think, I think you'll see a lot of people that are going to go away from that XX Rocker Boy 420.
I was going to say, how many 420 tags are going to get deleted?
Yeah.
No, that will increase because Call of Duty just came out.
Well, I think you'll see
420 just plays 69 XX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the X's are one's caps and the X one's not.
Totally, yeah. That'd be cool.
But I'm kind of like, I'm with you, Jeff. Like I've got, my Switch, I've got Level Up J on there, Level Up Justin on Xbox. I'm going to switch it on here as well. But I think it's just something that's kind of cool. They're giving back to the fans and finally doing something that I think is just something that could have been there or should have been there the whole time.
Yes.
It would have been nice. Like I said, I think that there was something in the back end that was preventing them from doing it. Otherwise, I think they would have done it, because it has been such a requested feature from everybody and their mother for so long.
Please, let's change Jimmy's name. He doesn't smoke pot anymore. He's a respectable boy.
Microsoft did it. Blizzard does it. Like Steam, you can do it. Like everybody else, you can do it. Some for a fee, some you can do it for free. Mm-hmm. I'm sure in the back end they don't want to confuse people and make separate accounts and be a troll like that. So I understand why on the back end there's some issues, but everybody's doing it. Just do it. I don't understand. I as a consumer, I don't understand why it's been so hard to implement this since the PS3 days.
But if there's like some technical thing that they have to overcome, then that you can't just roll that out if that's going to break a bunch of things.
Oh, that's fine. But there are people who are paid to figure out why that's not working.
But they did their job. That's the thing. They did their job and figured it out.
Late.
Well, and you got to think too.
To figure it out.
Well, and Microsoft did it day one.
And you got to think too. Like if let's say Dave's like, oh, you know what, say we're back in like the PS3 era. Oh, I want to change my name. Well, I can't, so I'm just going to create a whole new account, and now I've got to pay another $60 or whatever for PlayStation Network. So it also kind of maybe was a little bit more of a money grab than the $10 or the $5 or whatever it's going to be to change it. Because I did think I read the article I read on it was that it'll be free the first time, and then if you're a PlayStation Plus member, I think it's $4.99, and then if you're not, it's $9.99. So
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with paying $5 once to change my name. I don't care about that. That's fine.
No. And I think he said it was going to be to beta users or certain users later this year, and then early 2019, like you said, Jeff. They couldn't really commit to anything, so early 2019 is all we know on that.
Oh, so. Just in time for the upcoming PS5.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. Oh, by the way, we got this really cool feature that you can do on this really cool new box. Yeah. That you can pay $500. No, I'm just kidding.
By the way, not to get into too much of a divergent tangent, but there were two interesting, juicy little rumors that popped up this week regarding PlayStation 5. Number one,
feed me that bacon.
the later of the two things was that somebody on Reset Era spotted that Sony was hiring like a head of marketing for the PlayStation 5 campaign, and then they also, another user on Reset Era noticed that the posting for that position on Glassdoor.com made reference to the PlayStation 5 as multiple devices.
Okay.
So that is very interesting. What could those devices be? Could they be going the Xbox Scarlet route where you're going to have one main device and one streaming-only device? Could they be going with something crazy like a hybrid like the Switch?
I hope not, because Nintendo has that cornered right now. So
maybe they don't have it cornered.
Yeah.
Okay. PS5 coming next year.
Anyway. And maybe that's their. Maybe they would rather tackle something like that than maybe they're not ready to tackle the streaming service.
I don't know. They're going to have to figure that out at some point.
Right. They're going to have to if they want to compete with what the other companies are going to do. But yeah, maybe they go the handheld route, or like you said, offer multiple. I could definitely see Sony doing something like that. They're not going to sit back and just do what we've always seen for the last so many years. You're going to have to see something different because otherwise they won't keep up, and then it will be a complete opposite of this generation.
Sure.
The other juicy rumor that popped up this week was that PlayStation 5 was going to feature ultra backwards compatibility. So you'd be able to play from PlayStation all the way up through PlayStation 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had seen this.
Broadway Girl, I think you're right. Maybe offer a handheld with streaming capabilities. I don't think that's too far off.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
I think there might be something. I'm gonna dig around a little bit. I don't know how much I can say at this point, but
with the Wi-Fi and the connection speeds that are out there nowadays, and the fact that like you can pretty much walk around anywhere and find a connection, that would not surprise me.
As soon as Dave said Ultra, I was thinking about Killer Instinct for some reason.
I was too. Ultra combo.
Can I real quick on that Killer Instinct note? This is why Forza Horizon 4 is the best game ever. I unlocked the horn that is the Killer Instinct theme.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's rad.
Anyway, that was the end of my getting off the beaten path here.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the biggest game of the year. We are a week and a half out from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Uh-oh.
And we're talking about this because the Bacon of today's podcast will be first-person shooters in Call of Duty, and that'll be happening after this. But we need to touch on this because it is impacting the gaming industry. It was announced through several sources, including Rockstar employees, that they're reportedly working up to 100-hour work weeks in preparation for Red Dead Redemption 2. And of course, there was a lot of blowback about this because work weeks should be 40 hours a week, not 100. I think the question that we were posing before we started here was, does this make you want to buy this game more or less? But I've got Hauser's response to that, but let's kind of quickly give the backstory here on why this is such a big controversial issue. If someone would like to, that'd be great.
Well, first and foremost, just not even getting too deep into like labor law.
Purpose for greatness.
Don't even want to get into like labor laws and the fact that working that 100-hour weeks, or essentially, I don't know if these are salaried employees or hourly employees, how this all works. You would imagine it's salary, I suppose. And these guys, these men and women have families, and they have children and friends and things that they lives outside, and we've had this with other companies in the past where it's came out that they've had either like not very welcoming or like working conditions or working environment to working insane hours, and then you hear about the what was it, the crunch? Is that what they called it? Like having that crunch period, and it sometimes it breaks people, like legit breaks people.
So here I got the article up here. So the ongoing conversation, the game industry crunch. So Dan Houser, Rockstar co-founder, said in the New York Magazine interview that the dev team worked multiple 100-hour weeks on Red Dead Redemption 2. Of course, he wanted to clarify that. We can assume from that he's exaggerating a little bit, but the backlash was there. He said that the writing and edits on the game's script were, quote, immense, and explaining we were working 100-hour weeks earlier this year. He said the script, if stacked, would be, quote, 8 feet high, and the game features 500,000 lines of dialogue.
Wow.
The NPCs have 80-page scripts, said writer Laszlo Jones. Now, of course, game devs were coming out of the woodwork and criticizing what was coming off as them just boasting, like, hey, we work 100-hour weeks, what about you? We're hardcore. Even former employee Dylan Wildman, who worked on GTA 5 before he left Rockstar Games, he wrote, quote, the only way to fix the problem is from the very top. We need to move away from traditional release calendars and hype. Now, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I wonder, like, how many 100-hour weeks did they actually work? Was it 2 weeks? Was it, solid month-long stretches of 100-hour weeks? Or what are we actually talking about here?
I've got, so Dan Houser came out and gave a statement. So I have that. I have his entire statement right here from me, if you'll indulge me here for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here is the quote from Dan Houser's statement. This is through Polygon again. There seems to be a quote. I'll start with quote. There seems to be some confusion arising from my interview with Harold Goldberg in the New York Magazine. After working on the game for 7 years, the senior writing team, which consists of 4 people, Mike Unsworth, Rupert Humphreys, Laszlo, and myself, had, as we always do, 3 weeks of intense work when we wrapped everything up. 3 weeks, not years. We have all worked together for at least 12 years now and feel we need this to get everything finished. After so many years of getting things organized and ready on this project, we needed this to check and finalize everything. More importantly, we obviously don't expect anyone else to work this way. Across the whole company, we have some senior people who work very hard purely because they're passionate about a project or their particular work. And we believe that passion shows in the games we release. But that additional effort is a choice, and we don't ask or expect anyone to work anything like this. Lots of other senior people work an entirely different way and are just as productive. I'm just not one of them. No one, senior or junior, is ever forced to work hard. I believe we go to great lengths to run a business that cares about its people and to make the company a great place for them to work, unquote.
I mean, it sucks that they have to work 100-hour weeks. There's got to be a way to change that. What is the compelling factor that is driving these people to work 100-hour weeks? Somebody, I think in one of the statements you read, was blaming, hype and release calendars and things like that. Ultimately, I think it just falls to the publisher has a deadline and the game's got to ship. And that's what crunch time is all about. That's not making an excuse. And I think a company like Rockstar probably has a lot more leeway as far as when their game ships. They've had like 2 delays on Red Dead already. But at the end of the day, it takes an effort to get this to ship. And producing a game is even a more mammoth task than producing a movie at this point.
And something of the scale of this, that just seeing those seeing those stats on just the script, like what the NPCs have, what the dialogue is, that is ambition. That's the definition of ambition on this. So this is a unique edge case when it comes to something like a Rockstar game.
Right.
Well, and you said one thing you said that in the statement that kind of caught my eye or caught my ear there was nobody is forced to work hard. But just like any of us with day jobs, if you don't work hard, if you don't put in the effort, you don't put in the work, if they, with Red Dead, don't put in the effort, put in the work, they lose that job.
Right.
Sure. So while they may not be forced to work hard, if the expectations are being set ethically or unethically, and they're unrealistic, and it forces a crunch period, or like you said, weeks or multiple weeks of 100-hour work weeks, then where are you like not forcing them to work hard? You know what I'm saying? Like there's kind of like that weird.
The expectation is, you're not forced to work 100 hours, but if you're not meeting your deadline, you're sacked.
And deadlines are set by people above. They're not set by the people making the game. So these people are adhering to the publisher's deadlines.
Right.
Yeah. So how much of this is Take-Two? How much does this Take-Two Interactive?
Well, I think it's 100% Take-Two. Take-Two is ultimately going to be the one that puts their foot down and say, hey, we got to ship this game at this time. You can't delay it anymore. I'm sure they give Rockstar a lot of freedom, but...
Sure, because business, because money, because stockholders, because all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, people like Jim Sterling and Jason Schreier from Kotaku, they talk about the reason that this happens is because there is no gaming union. My question is, what happens if you're only working 40-hour work weeks? Like, how does that impact the game? And I'm not advocating that people should be working 100-hour work weeks. I'd probably, throw myself off a building if I were forced to do that for several weeks at a time with no end in sight. But what is the impact on the product if they're not putting in that extra time?
Right. Or what's the length of period it's going to take to develop and make these games? Like it's going to take twice as long. Yeah, like a game like Red Dead would take twice as long to have been made. So
yeah, it's already been almost 10 years since Red Dead came out, the original.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, and the ultimate question here that she poses is, will this affect sales? I don't think so. I think at this point, Red Dead 2 is so ingrained in people's minds that people were sold, like me, people were sold on name alone. So nothing that they can do is going to change my opinion. I'm going to buy this thing day one and put all my life into it. So for me, it won't change anything.
Right, me either. And personally, it actually makes me want to play it more because I understand how much blood, sweat, and tears went into making this project. So I want to appreciate it and love it that much more.
I read this statement that Hauser first, the original statement of we were 100-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks. I read that as, okay, he's obviously exaggerating. They just say they work long hours.
Sure.
I mean, they work more than normal. I don't think they were actually working 100-hour weeks. I think what he was getting at was we worked our tails off for crunch time, me included, which that was a big thing for me was he said I was a part of this too, and I don't expect anyone to do it, but the writers, we have to crunch to get this thing out there.
Right.
And it was a couple weeks, and it's as you get closer to a launch of a huge game like this, you got to make sure this thing is polished when it comes out. So you got to plug all the stops. So I read this statement as he's exaggerating, obviously. He just means we worked hard on this.
I'll tell you what, it makes me feel bad for the poor bastards who put that much time and effort into a game that doesn't end up being good or ends up being disappointment. Like, think about all those people who worked hard on Mass Effect Andromeda. They worked just as hard and
it wasn't even the worst game out there.
Yeah, just the decisions that were made, it ended up not being as good of a game and getting panned, and just having all of that work, all of that effort kind of get thrown out by the internet community there. That would be the thing that drives me mad.
I'm sure somebody put an hour's time into Superman 64, so I feel bad for them.
I do. The only thing it makes me think too is think of how massive and how big this game is, how it broke the internet, how it was such a just huge bombshell when the first announcements finally came out.
Yeah.
As we get bigger, as gaming continues to grow, and we get into these newer generations, and these games get bigger and more ambitious, where do we draw the line?
You know, crunch time is nothing new. I remember Next Generation Magazine almost 20 years ago doing a feature shining the spotlight on developer horror stories from crunch time. And I wish I had more of a photographic memory. I can't remember the exact issue that was, but you know,
yeah, I don't think crunch time
it's been around
disappears.
for a while. Yeah.
I don't think crunch time ever disappears. I definitely don't want to suggest that whatsoever, but it makes me wonder as these games get bigger and more ambitious and tougher to make and involve more because it's becoming more and more realistic or more and more ambitious. At what point does it become too much? And I don't know if there is an answer to that. That's just something that popped into my mind. Like I said, crunch time will never go away.
Well, here's
You'll
another.
Always have that.
Yeah, here's another wrinkle though. As we move into more of a games as service model / episodic model, does that mean that crunch time just continues on in perpetuity? Because you're shipping out that next update. You're always crunching to get that next update out. You're always crunching to get that next episode out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's something to think about. But
anyway, Red Dead 2 is coming out next weekend. I want to see day one, the list of people streaming. How many people are streaming that game day one?
I know.
Including myself.
I wish I could do it, but I think I've got something going on for dinner that night, and then I'm on a plane.
No, you don't.
I'm on a plane.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna get to play it like an hour on launch day, and then I'll be off to Disney.
That's if it downloads in time.
That's right. That's
if you're.
That's like 100 gigabyte install.
Yeah, say unless you're downloading it early because you're getting it digitally and you're pre-downloaded.
Crap. I hope we do a midnight launch. I can play it on Sunday.
What's up, Golfing Buffalo? Thanks so much for the shout out. We really appreciate it.
The 18 holes of Bison is here.
That's right.
Good to see you, Buffalo. Should we get to the bacon of the day's podcast?
Yeah, it's about time.
Yes. Well, we had some good insight there. So we had an intelligent conversation, Dave.
We did. Time.
Yeah, we were due for one.
It's that milkshake. That milkshake powered me up.
And it brings the boys to the yard.
I was just going there.
I'm way ahead of you. Let's talk about first-person shooters.
Song instead of
in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I already forgot about it. God, Evo memories.
Oh yeah. Some of them were great. Some not so much. Make some noise! Stop! It is 3 a.m.
Lots of strobe lights.
What year is this? I feel like
why are you strobe lighting? Because they just walked on stage.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Anyway, let's talk about first-person shooters.
Yes.
Because the one of the biggest first-person shooters of the year came out recently, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Your boy has played about... Nice job. And your boy here has put in about 8 to 10 hours of it thus far across all the modes. And we'll talk about it. We'll discuss Call of Duty as a whole. Because this is an intriguing topic for me. Because Call of Duty is that shooter that's withstood the test of time and withstood the test of Activision. Because Activision's a company that if they find something, they will shove it down your throat. We saw it with Tony Hawk. We saw it with Guitar Hero. We saw it with Spider-Man, when Activision had Spider-Man. And we saw it when we're seeing it with Call of Duty. But Call of Duty seems to be the one franchise that still withstands even the peaks and the peaks and the valleys. It still continues to go on. What is it about this series that allows it to continue to become as big as it is? Because it's been on top for a long time.
I think it appeals to people who don't play... They play video games, but they're not connoisseurs of the medium. They have, like, their 1 or 2 games that they really like, and they want to continue playing every year. And Call of Duty just happens to be one of those 2 games. And they're not interested in branching out. They just want to continue having that same experience with their friends. Back when I worked retail at GameStop, before it was GameStop, I saw the same thing with the sports fans out there. They came in every year. They faithfully bought their Madden. They faithfully bought their NCAA football. The NBA people faithfully bought their NBA Live each year. And they were not interested in branching out to anything else. They might occasionally, once in a blue moon, on the 4th tetrad or whatever of the Jewish calendar, they would.
Oh wow!
They would
wow,
try. I'm trying to go really obscure. They would reach out and buy something else if it was like really big and getting a lot of hype, like when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. It's I'll try this.
Right.
Mancow said it is getting banned. Seriously, that's when Grand Theft Auto 3 really started getting big. It did a lot better than I thought it was going to do initially when it first came out, but we didn't start selling out of secondary shipments until there was this rumor that started on Mancow that Grand Theft Auto 3 was going to get banned. Gotcha. And then it was like everybody coming in and like, okay, I got to get this game.
That was sort of like San Andreas when they had the hot coffee cheat, and all of a sudden, and then we had when we had to work GameStop, we had to watch which version of the game came in. We couldn't take the first run of the game. We couldn't allow people to trade in the first copy of the game.
That's
anyway,
funny. Yeah. But anyway, that's why I think Call of Duty has had the lasting impact. It's appealing to people who just play 1 or 2 games a year, and with the emergence of online, since my retail days, they're playing with their friends. So their friends are all getting Call of Duty each year. They want to play with their friends. That's the game that they play. That's how they stay connected with their friends, is through Call of Duty. So I think that's why it's having that lasting impact.
Sure. I think that, and I think another thing too, I agree with everything Dave said. So the only thing I'll add to it really is, while we play games that help us escape reality, whether it be Overwatch or a Mega Man or a Chrono Trigger, something that is not realistic to us. We can escape the real world. This, while not every Call of Duty, but a lot of Call of Duties are a little more closer to home due to the subject matter and the realism. And I think that hits home with a lot of people because they feel like it's not a kid game, so to say. Whereas we might look at it as like, this isn't a game that we get every year, but it's something that we know is on the radar and we know is coming in that October slot of every fourth quarter or whatever. But we know that there are people that are out there that are like, well, I want a realistic military shooter or a realistic shooter, and they don't really gravitate towards that Fortnite, or they did for a month or a few months, because the last Call of Duty just did, they were done and they're just waiting for the next one. But like you said, these are the people that get the same games a lot, over and over and over. So, while not everybody is like us three, we'll go out and maybe pick up the Madden or at the times the NCAA footballs, as well as the other games that are coming out, such as like the platformers, Cupheads and BioShocks and different things like that. This fits in that realistic niche that people can really like sink their teeth into, and it just it doesn't let them escape too far from reality, so they don't feel like they're a kid playing a kid thing.
That's a really good point, and that's another thing that I kind of wanted to hit on as far as the reason for its popularity. Call of Duty, it was a popular game, but it didn't really start taking off until Modern Warfare, right?
Correct. Right. Correct. Yes.
And I always felt at the time, I can't remember exactly when Modern Warfare came out. I thought it was...
2000.
Oh, give me 1 second. I can tell you.
Anyway,
it would have been because I think two was a launch time for the 360. So 4 would have been like 2008.
Well, Call of Duty World War II was launch on 360, wasn't it?
My thoughts at the time were that Call of Duty was kind of tying into this almost militaristic propaganda of Mideast interventionalism at the time during the George W. Bush administration, and then carried on over through the Obama administration. Modern Warfare kind of morphed the series, at least in my eyes, into sort of like a military propaganda outlet almost. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just my perspective from 10 years ago at that time. So I think that it tapped into something there, at least in my eyes, and that might have fueled its longevity. It also helps that the games are just good. I mean, there's no getting past that. If they were just bad games, they wouldn't have lasted.
Right.
They may be repetitive, but they're still quality games.
Yeah, and while people like to hate on them and everything, because it's the cool thing to do, they are, like you said, they're good games. They wouldn't be selling and playing if they weren't good games. That's the thing, is they are good. Just to kind of go into it, so Call of Duty Modern Warfare was Call of Duty 4. So Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and it was originally released for Microsoft Windows, Nintendo DS, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360 on November 7th, 2007.
Okay.
Okay.
And then obviously it was remastered.
So we were right in there. We were trying to get into Iran at the time too.
And then obviously it was remastered and came out in 2016, I believe.
Okay, so back me up here. Call of Duty 2 was a 360 launch.
Yes.
Call of Duty 2, yes,
was the... And that's what I remember most. So when Call of Duty first came out, it was obviously they were trying to do. I mean, Medal of Honor was already out. Medal of Honor was sort of the PC World War II shooter,
right?
And they also had SOCOM for a brief period as well.
Well, SOCOM on the PS2, but as far as like those. Like the World War II shooters, you had Medal of Honor and you had Battlefield like the 42, and Call of Duty 1, and then it was kind of the trying to do console versions of that. And Call of Duty 1, there's Big Red 1, and obviously Call of Duty 2 being a nice showpiece for the new shiny new system. But yeah, it didn't take off until Modern Warfare. People go, oh, okay, this is more close to home. This has the, and then you got into the airport level that people found to be too graphic, and they started pushing the envelope, and it helped that they were good games and they were fun multiplayer games, right? And you could do a lather, rinse, repeat, tweak a little bit of things, but you're gonna keep, if you keep your fan base happy, they're gonna keep playing your games, even in the bad times with Infinite Warfare, which people universally crap on. People were still playing it. So and for me, like, Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 made a huge impact on me. It was a great story, first of all. That campaign was awesome.
You also joined the military, too, which is...
Yeah, look at me, yeah. No, which is a good
For all the radio listeners, I'm just kidding.
How much of the Call of Duty fan base, the player base, are veterans? Like, how many of them are...
Sure. And that's kind of why I thought at the time, and still kind of think that there was some sort of element of the military-industrial complex that was tied into the rise around Modern Warfare of the Call of Duty franchise.
Right, and I go right in there with you guys, because one of the best memories I have of like the old school like midnight releases, standing in line and waiting in that line to get a game and all that, was with Modern Warfare 2, and I can't tell you how many people I seen that did show up and they were active military members. Just they were either in their gear or just literally came and like, I'm just picking this up and taking up going back out however wherever they were going. But like Dave was right, like it was right in that time frame where it just really hit home with a lot of people, I think, and it just caught on, and then it's exploded ever since. So.
And we're seeing so many different clones of it. I mean, you look at mobile devices and how many mobile games are just basically Call of Duty, and like how many free to play shooter. I mean, you look at something like I hate saying Counter-Strike. There's enough differences there, but you get where I'm going with this. Is that there are, and Counter-Strike, came first. Let's be real here. But there are so many also rans of this that but you can't really beat the original, and Call of Duty is still good, which brings us to the new release. Brings us to Black Ops 4, which is the 11th game in the franchise. I think.
I have not been keeping track.
Give me a second. I can tell you.
I think I've played one Call of Duty game. I think I played Modern Warfare 2. Somebody loaned it to me when I got my Xbox 360.
According to the Call of Duty Wikipedia, now this could be wrong, it is the 15th main installment in the series.
Holy crap.
Wow.
And they group them. They actually group them in their different story arcs. So you have the World War II games, which are Call of Duty 2, 3, and then World War II. Mm-hmm. You have the Modern Warfare story arc, which is Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Then you have Modern Warfare 2 and 3. And then the Black Ops story arc, which is Call of Duty World at War, Black Ops 2, 3, and then the newly released 4. Okay. And then your spin-offs, which were Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and Infinite Warfare. There are other titles.
Sure.
By the way, let me interrupt you just for a second, because Barry Terry 52 is the newest Baconeer over on Mixer. Thanks so much, not only for the follow, but also he's hosting us on Mixer as well. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Barry Terry 52.
Thank you. Mixer is a hoppin'.
It is.
Doing well for us.
Yes.
But anyway, so Black Ops 4, I'll give my synopsis here. I'll write a review for it eventually on NerdBacon.com. Black Ops 4 has been under a magnifying glass since day one, mainly because we had the inkling that there would be no single-player campaign, which we all thought, you can't do that.
Right.
How can you do this? They can do it well, because this game is awesome. I'm really liking what I'm playing so far. So you've got your 3 basic modes. You've got the basic multiplayer. You've got your Blackout, which is the Battle Royale, highly touted Blackout mode, and, of course, Zombies mode, which people can look at that and say, well, that's not a whole lot of game. What is there is very substantial. There's a lot of content in there. There's a lot of maps for multiplayer. The Battle Royale experience on its own is unequivocally, I will say this. Blackout is the best Battle Royale experience I've ever had.
Wow.
Period.
Wow. Are you a believer
100%.
now?
In the genre, yes. I've been a believer in the genre since PUBG. I'm somebody who liked PUBG a lot, who played Fortnite, and hate the people who just kidding. And really what I wanted is the best of both worlds. I wanted something fast-paced like Fortnite without the building, because I just die every time because I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can't build and shoot.
Spin in a circle and hit this button and do this and jump.
Go, my macro's going. But I wanted the aesthetic of PUBG, because I like that, the military view of it and kind of the Arma style of it. But I always thought PUBG was too slow. Mm-hmm. So with the smaller map, I thought it was too small. I still do a lot of running. This is the best of both worlds. Not only do I get the fast-paced action from a Fortnite, but I get the aesthetic I'm looking for, and not being overly complicated. Plus, it still plays like a Call of Duty, which is great. Right. Even though you can't play Blackout like Call of Duty, because you just die every time. My ranking right now is...
I was going to say, elaborate on that. What do you mean you cannot play Blackout like you play Call of Duty?
Well, usually if I'm playing Call of Duty multiplayer, I'm doing a lot of running, gunning.
Okay.
I can't do that in Blackout, because all the sounds you make from all the running is going to give away your position.
Oh.
Right.
You can't go running and gunning because stealth is more the name of the game.
Right.
So
it is with it being a Twitch shooter, it is very much more fast paced than, like you said, Fortnite, where even then, you can't just go running and gunning. You'll get taken down. You make noise. You alert people to your, even when you shoot, you alert people to where you're at. And while I've unfortunately not been able to play, I have gotten to watch Jeff stream and then watch some other streams, and it is you have to play Blackout different than you would play just like your normal team deathmatch. You have to.
Right.
Okay.
And there are solos, there are duos, and there's 4-player squads. I miss doing solos because I hate people. So. But either way, the good parts start from the very beginning. So in solos, there's 88 people, which is a weird number, but fine, whatever.
That is weird.
You can do 100 on the 4-player squads, but it's 88 on solos and duos.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is a weird number, I know. But right out of the gate, you get the wingsuit, which is an awesome upgrade from the parachute. Because usually in PUBG, you would find a place to unload. Your parachute would only take you so far before it would just say, okay, we'll only give you a small space to maneuver in. Right. The wingsuit, you can go all the way across the map in that thing. So you can just jump out and find your plan afterwards. Mm-hmm. It's kind of nice. But yeah, the tension is there from the get-go because you're a couple seconds away from death, from instant death, as I found out way too many times. But there are guns. Guns are plentiful. The perks are there. The simple Call of Duty perks. You can pick up armor. You can pick up
airstrikes.
Yeah, like it's all plentiful, and you gotta find a good balance of pick up and go. Also be stealthy. So
right.
I'm having a blast with it. My only problem with the mode is it's very stingy on your progression. So you have to get kills. You have to finish in top 15 to make any progression. I am not good at it. My highest ranking is 12th. I've got 12th once and I got 1 kill out of it. So I got some merits or some XP basically.
Right.
But if you bomb in, you get no kills and you finish 35, you just wasted some time. Granted, it's not hard to just hit deploy and get in the next match. You can go pretty quickly. Loading times are minuscule, I found to be very nice. YouTube has crashed. Good to know.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, YouTube is I noticed we didn't have an alert when it went out, and like everything is crashed on YouTube. I don't know what's going on with it. So
interesting.
But really, right now, the only thing to unlock, which is kind of also a bummer, the only thing you can unlock right now is other characters to play as in Blackout, and that's what when you level up your merits. That's who you unlock. You also can unlock the specialist by playing their story mode in the kind of the single player portion of the game. Right. But there's no cosmetic stuff. There's no loot boxes, nothing like that, which I would kind of like to customize my character a little bit. That's kind of my bummer.
Instead of being the same character from head to toe, like you can customize them a little more. I was going to ask you because I did download it last night. I was because of being out of town over the weekend. I didn't get to pick it up till yesterday, and then I downloaded it, and it was such a large download I wasn't able to play it all last night.
It's like a 55 to 60 gig download, something like that.
The disc plus that, and the disc is nothing, but you're right. And then Mediacom's internet, and you can put 2 and 2 together from there. But
you can hear you.
Yeah, right. So then you can't. So even if I were to win or get a top rank, I'm not going to unlock like different gear. Mm-hmm. I just may unlock different what?
That's the thing. Is you unlock
what am I playing for?
Right. You get the merits and you get, the satisfaction of knowing you won one, and then you can unlock characters to play as, which takes some merits to get up on. And
I'll play the single player stuff to unlock, whoever, but
this could be an easy fix in an update. I mean, they're going if they want to keep pace with Fortnite, they have to do consistent updates, and because that's what I hate to talk about Fortnite in the positive light, but whatever. That's what's kept Fortnite around for so long, because the constant updates, the constant map changes, the constant changing of the game that keeps the game fresh. And I think they have plans to do so, that they can very easily add an update to add cosmetic stuff to it. So.
And at one time, Fortnite was it might have been brief, but was the jam that, even, you and I dabbled in for a brief period of time.
Sure.
And it just, you're right. What they're doing is bringing that constant update and allowing it to stay fresh and having the seasons. And I think Call of Duty could do that. I'm excited to jump in and to finally get to play and to try these different modes out. I'm excited to see what twists and turns there are. I know there's zombies in all the different modes, so.
Yeah, around the care packages, they put a bunch of zombies around the care package.
Ah.
So you have to figure out, do I want to shoot them and give away my position? If you do get some loot out of it. So there is some There's some strategy involved there.
So if you kill the zombie, you do get loot from the zombie?
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what they're saying. I haven't seen the zombies yet because I keep dying right away.
Sure.
But you also can get to the crate that way, but you're also giving away your position.
And I've seen people post screenshots of where they'd finished like 22nd, 23rd. And you're right. The little bit of merit, even like 22nd, 23rd with like 2 kills, and the little bit of merit they're getting is kind of stingy. But like I said, what are you playing for? Like, what are you unlocking? Right. Skins for weapons? Like, what are you unlocking here? Like, what's the incentive to keep playing?
I don't know. To my heart.
Oh,
I'm still working on that. Switching from that, because I really enjoy Blackout and I want to play more of that, and I may read a short article about that. But
I was going to ask one more question about Call of Duty. How do you think it's going to compare to Battlefield 5? How do you
right now Battlefield 5 has some work to do because right now Call of Duty has set the bar.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to Battle Royale, I think Battlefield 5 will have its hooks. We can live in a world where Call of Duty and Battlefield are still good because they're different shooters. Right. They're different takes on the same genre. You know, Call of Duty fast paced, in your face action. Battlefield is more methodical and vehicle based and large scale. So both can work. I think Battlefield's plus will be the fact that if you have EA Origins Access Premier, you have the game already. You don't have to put down $60-$70. You have the deluxe edition, so they already have an installed fan base or installed player base. So I think that'll be something to look into. But I think, plus people are hyped for that game as well. So we can live in a world with both those games.
Right.
If I can go to the multiplayer side of Call of Duty, the basic PvP, what people come to the game for.
Right.
There are a ton of maps that kind of bridge all of the Black Ops legacy because you have some new maps, but you have stuff in Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1 and
right.
There's some nice little callbacks. There is no bad map. I played a bunch of World War II, and there's one map that I cannot stand. I've not had the problem here. I like every map.
That's a relief. That's a big relief.
My biggest problem with the multiplayer, and it's something that they probably will nerf this. Some of the ultimate abilities are way too overpowered. I play as Nomad. His ultimate is releasing the dog. I have a twofold problem with this. I don't want to kill dogs, first of all. I have a soft spot in my heart for killing animals.
Which that's been a Call of Duty issue,
it's been a thing for a while.
So to say, for a while, yes.
Yeah. Also, it takes forever to kill a dog. Good Lord.
Really?
I can like 2 or 3 shot a person. It takes me at least 1 full clip, if not 2, to take down a damn dog. And they're constantly moving, so it's hard to hit the son of a guns.
Right.
Plus, if you see one, you're just dead. I mean, they one shot you if a dog gets anywhere near you. So
Sounds
it's a little
like you don't like dogs.
Not in Call of Duty, but I will still play as him and spam the crap out of it.
And that's been my one complaint with Call of Duty in the past is that I've always felt like it's such a quick death. Like, and I get it, like real life, if I were to get shot, like not trying to be morbid, but I'm not saying it would take more than 1 shot if the shot was in the right spot. I get that. But man, holy crap. Like it doesn't take much. I've seen Jeff and I both go down like that just because somebody turns the corner and we're like, do we even see the guy? Because I have no idea where that bullet came from.
Yeah, and that just doesn't feel like fun to me.
Right.
There's one guy who has a riot shield. I forget what his name is now. He's a riot shield, and he can shoot through the shield, which is kind of a cool effect.
What?
But it takes forever to take down the shield. So some of these things are overpowered, so they may get nerfed. What I do like a lot
is his name Roman Reigns.
No. It should be though. It should be.
Oh man, that would be great if Roman Reigns shows up in like Call of Duty as a character.
The shield guy.
Yeah, he could Superman punch. That's all he's got, just like in real life.
It could be part of the Black Ops Pass and be with the new specialists.
That would be great.
One thing I love is that they count assists as kills. What? Across the board.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
What?
Your kill death ratio is going to go through the roof because even if you tag a guy once, somebody else kills him, you get the kill too.
How does that work?
Yeah.
With like scores and stuff.
It just counts the kill.
So is it double point?
That ain't how it works in hockey.
That's true.
You get the goal or you get the assist.
No, if it's team deathmatch, I shoot one guy with one bullet. I do 26 damage. Justin, you come along and finish him off. You get 100 points. I get 100 points. You get a kill. I get a kill.
But then what's our team get? 2 kills or 1 kill?
There's 1.
Oh, okay.
It's counting. I mean, it counts deaths as 1.
So we're getting the kill, the KD, and the experience points.
Right.
But our team is getting the 1 kill. Okay.
Right.
It's a
it's
a redistribution of kills.
And that counts.
It's the participation trophy of Call of Duty.
Right. That counts towards your score streaks.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be a.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
That counts towards your score streaks and everything too. So it's made my kill death ratio go through the roof. Of course, now all it does is move the goalpost. I was reading this on I think it was Kotaku. It moves the goalpost over. Mm-hmm. So instead of being proud of a 1.0 kill death ratio, now you should probably be in the 1.5, 1.4 kill death ratio. That's really all it's doing. But also what it does is it doesn't make you so discouraged that you stop playing the game.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
You could sit there. I'm not good at a Call of Duty. I'm fine. I can handle my own at this point. But if I'm going 2-20, I'm going to stop playing Call of Duty for a while. But if I'm going 10-6, if I'm I had one game last night, I was like 18-2. I'm going to do that a couple times. I'm going to keep playing and test my luck. So there's a little bit of a mental factor with that as well.
I agree with you because I did the same thing with Call of Duties or even like the Halos when I would see that I'd have there's a couple years back when Halo 5 came out and I would be like 20-5 and then have like 10 assists. I'd be like, oh yeah, I want to play again. And then until I had a crappy game, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be done for a little while. So I get that aspect of it, but it's really interesting that assists count as kills because it feels like I'm kind of cheating the system, but whatever. It's to each their own. To each their own.
And then to talk real quickly about zombies because we're kind of running along before we get to our main about first-person shooters. The zombies mode, I've never been a Call of Duty Zombies fan. I think it's been overcomplicated. I think it's just been too much. I like it this time around because it feels more like a Left 4 Dead as opposed to something else.
Oh, good.
Interesting.
Good.
Talking amongst yourselves, I have to answer my door real quick.
Oh,
so
crazy.
Talking amongst yourselves, I need to be right back.
It's funny. I was just going to ask him if he misses having a single player campaign, but we'll never know. We'll never know.
I think that would be a good question because, like I said, I haven't jumped into it yet, and I don't know why, but when I put the disc in last night and then looked at the back of the, I got it for Xbox. Sure. I looked at the back and it says on here Xbox single player, and then I looked and I'm like, wait. It says Blackout, multiplayer, and zombies. Where's the single player?
Yeah, that's funny.
And then I was like, oh, that's right. There is no single player.
Okay.
So, but there must be some sort of single player aspect that Jeff can maybe answer and answer your question the same way.
I want to know who is at the door.
My mom. She's stopping by.
Oh, hi, Mom.
We should bring her on this stream.
Mama's stopping by. She'd probably go, what the hell are you doing, Jeffrey?
Give her a headset. Put her on.
Yeah, do it.
But I luckily with my wireless headphones, I can hear you guys.
Oh, good.
So screw you. I was kidding. So single player stuff. So the single player aspect is involved in the specialist headquarters. So you basically are going to be playing kind of the backstory of all the specialists. And what it boils down to is it's basically a tutorial for how their abilities work. And it will give you a chance to kind of play some versus AI matches to kind of get a feel for each specialist to kind of find the ones you like. And there is great cutscenes that really get into the story and really kind of tie it into the other Black Ops games. Because they mentioned Mason, who is I believe is Black Ops I protagonist in the numbers game and everything, and they bring him up constantly in this. So they tie it into the rest of the Black Ops lineage, which is kind of nice.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't miss a campaign because really, after a certain point, people don't play the campaigns anymore, and that's why we're seeing.
Unless you're me
and me, I played all the Modern Warfare ones, but
yeah, I thought the campaign. I always would play. I had a rule for myself: I would never play multiplayer until I beat the campaign.
But at this point, Activision knows, hey, these guys play multiplayer. This is what our bread and butter is. So let's just give them a really substantial multiplayer experience, and they've done that. And I really enjoy Black Ops 4.
So, to put a bow on this, 8 to 10 hours into Call of Duty Black Ops 4, if you had to give it a review score right now, scale of 1 to 10, Jeff Roth, what's it going to be?
All right, let me put an asterisk by this as well, because there's a big competitive update due out in December. There's the Call of Duty League that's coming out in December, which is going to really flesh out the multiplayer aspect, add ranked, and make it more like an Overwatch style.
There was also a update just on Sunday, wasn't there?
Yeah, so they're going to really add a bunch of stuff to the Call of Duty multiplayer League world. Like I think it's Call of Duty World. I forget what it's called, but it's coming out in December. That's going to add some more substantial content to it. So this number may go up or down based on that, but right now I'd say 8.5.
Nice.
And I say that because I'm just having so much fun with it. It reminds me of the Call of Duty games of yore. As somebody who spent so much time in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, it's not better than that because I think Modern Warfare 2 is a better package overall. But, that was me back then. This is me now. I really enjoy what Black Ops 4 is offering with the multiplayer being as fun as it is. It reminds me of old school Call of Duty, and with the Blackout mode being as good as it is and making me like zombies for the first time in the series. So I'm thumbs up on Black Ops 4.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Review forthcoming on the site. So
well, and does the specialist aspect, is that like yes or no? You don't have to go into it, but is that kind of like the Rainbow Six Siege thing? Where they have all the different specialists that come out. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I played a bunch of.
Is that kind of like that?
Yeah, I mean they have their abilities and they have their different likeness to that. But again, one thing I wish there was more customization of the characters.
Right,
you can do your paint jobs on your weapons, stuff like that. But there does not seem to be a whole lot of character customization, which I really miss.
That would put it over the top, I think.
Also worth mentioning, they tout all these Call of Duty points, all these COD points, which in Black Ops 3 you would use to buy loot boxes to get calling cards and stuff like that. There's no hook for COD points right now. I just have them for pre-ordering it, and people who bought the more expensive versions have more COD points. Huh. There is nothing to spend it on right now. I think there's no way to buy it either. But right now there's no hooks for COD points in the game. Gotcha. So I'm assuming when this League update comes out in December, something COD point related is coming with it.
Okay, cool.
So that's why I say the score may change. My score may change based on what happens in future updates, because it sounds like they're going to update the crap out of this in the future.
Right.
As they should.
Sounds like it's the best of a few games kind of coming to one. We'll see.
It's been my best Call of Duty experience in quite some time.
Good.
So, thumbs up. How are we doing on time here, fellas?
We are 1 hour and 38 minutes into this podcast.
Well, we were going to talk about our favorite first-person shooters. Do we want to go down that route now?
Let's go down that route. We're hot.
Okay, we're hot. Obviously, we're talking about Call of Duty being the biggest first-person shooter in the market for the past 15 iterations.
Oh, geez.
Really starting around Call of Duty 4, but, whoever. But it got us thinking about our favorite first-person shooters of all time. I've been talking a whole lot, and my throat hurts, so my G Fuel goes in my face. Now, Justin, since you've not been here for a while, as someone who needs to step up and talk a little bit more, talk about your favorite first-person shooters of all time.
The first one that I'm going to kind of go with, and I'm going to go a little bit obscure, because when we think first-person shooter, the first thing you might think of is like competitor, like Call of Duty. But one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time is Left 4 Dead 2.
Of course it is.
Because Left 4 Dead 2 is a heck of a game, and I can still play it to this day. And the randomization of each level, you never know when the horde's going to come. The ability to play locally or online with up to 3 other people, it is insane. I taught ex-girlfriends how to play this game. I taught my sister how to play this game.
Is that why they're ex-girlfriends, Justin?
No. We'll say no. Let's go with that.
Let's go no.
So, Left 4 Dead 2, I still own it to this day, is one of my favorite games of all time in general, let alone a first-person shooter. And it's not, like I said, it's not your stereotypical first-person shooter, but it excites me that you said that zombies on Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was kind of similar to that. So now I'm even more excited to play that aspect of it.
It's the new rush mode they added with zombies, which basically just go to the area, survive a horde of zombies, move to the next one. It felt very Left 4 Dead like to me.
And then that's why I think I spent so many hours playing Left 4 Dead 2 was we always felt like while it was the same thing, it always felt fresh and different because we never knew what was coming our way. Right. It was always kept random. So
the PC version of that got a bunch of updates, a lot of crossover with the first game, and that game is still being played by a ton of people to this day.
I know.
Steam Workshop support, man, it's great.
Yep.
I had a thing where when the tank showed up, it would play the Ninja Turtles theme.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I like dumb things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think one was like a mod. A coach became like Master Chief or something like that. Like, okay, this is pretty cool.
And Coach was my character too, so
nice.
All right.
Who was the redneck? What was his name? That's what I used to play it as.
I can tell you if you give me like 1 second here.
1 full second.
One Mississippi. Oh, he made it.
Oh.
Oh, it was crap. I don't remember his name. It doesn't say it on the back.
I think his name was crap. I'll go to Wiki. Dave, go ahead. Hit us with
I'll have to Wiki that one.
Give us a title of one of your favorite first-person shooters.
I gotta go with the classic. I didn't have a fancy PC growing up.
Same.
But of course, there really wasn't much. I guess like Doom and Wolfenstein and stuff like that was kind of becoming prevalent back when I was growing up. And actually, those were still shareware titles. Shareware was still a thing back then. But I'd say
Justin, it was Ellis.
Yes. Yep.
All right, go ahead.
One of my first real fond memories of first-person shooters, I think, was the same as many people's, and that's GoldenEye.
Sure. Yep.
Revolutionized the genre on first-person shooters on console. Really, I feel it was the first first-person shooter to be done correctly on a console was GoldenEye. It definitely opened up the world of multiplayer for so many people. It was kind of a showcase title for why the N64 insisted on having 4 controller ports right out of the gate. Yep. Just a fantastic use of the license and a fantastic piece of game design all around. And thank God that game was so good, because what was N64 battling in 1997? They were battling, one of the Tomb Raider games and Final Fantasy VII in that year. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, GoldenEye, just had so much fun playing that game with my buddy Bill back when we were growing up. So,
what up, Bill?
Yep, definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think we all have had like sleepovers at friends' houses playing.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And turning paintball mode on and big head mode and making sure nobody picked Odd Job, because that's a cheat.
That's cheat.
And if you picked Jaws, you got laughed at.
So, were you guys excited when Perfect Dark was coming out?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Do you feel that Perfect Dark lived up to the legacy of GoldenEye?
Yes.
Do you want?
I love Perfect Dark. I love Perfect Dark.
Really?
I
never finished Perfect Dark.
I didn't either.
That first game. We'll save Zero for later, but that N64 game, I loved it, dude.
I was excited to try to go.
Farsight. That's the only thing you need. The Farsight.
See, I was excited to try to go back to it with Rare Replay.
Oh,
yeah.
And try to dig into it then, but haven't gotten there yet.
I was impressed. I really liked the fact that they had bots in the game. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep.
It was before, online play, this fancy thing. So it was nice to be able to do single player, multiplayer.
That might be why I still like bots, the idea of bots, much as I do, because if I'm not able to go to my friend's house, or I don't have people to play with, I can still play the game and enjoy the game for all it's worth. Mm-hmm. So that's a good point.
Shout out to Star Wars. Was it Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the GameCube? Was that what it was? Or PS? One of the old Battlefront games had bots.
They had bots,
Yeah.
What was the first online first-person shooter you guys got into? Like, really got into?
Quake.
Halo. Was it be 2?
Halo
Maybe?
2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a Quake guy.
Man, Halo. Oh my goodness. The hours.
Oh my god.
The hours.
The Halo series for me and the hours I spent in a Halo game from 1 to upcoming Infinite.
Yes.
I just so many hours spent in Halo. Yeah. I recently booted up Master Chief Collection and to try out the online servers, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is okay. I'm gonna be playing this for a while because it just reminded me of the good old days of Halo.
Yeah.
Man,
it was simplified back then too. There wasn't just go, and the few things you unlocked were just to kind of show off like your name on the the load up screen and everything, or the All right, Jeff, what about you? What do you got for us?
I have a long history with the genre. My first FPS was Wolfenstein 3D on my dad's computer. And at that point, being a kid, not being desensitized yet, here I am.
Oh yeah,
shooting these people in the face and blood's everywhere. There are dogs. There's Mecha Hitler. What is going on in this game?
Mecha Hitler.
And then came the first Doom. And again, I was a kid. I couldn't play Doom. It was terrifying. Of course, we look back at it now, it's like, what the heck was I afraid of?
Right.
But that first Doom when it came out was revolutionary. It was at the forefront when it came to Wolfenstein, when it came to Doom, then Duke Nukem 3D. And then came Quake, and Quake took over, man. Quake took over people's lives online.
Yep.
Especially Quake 3, and that's why we have Quake, and now, of course, we have Quake Champions, which is still a very good Quake game. I got way into Unreal Tournament. I remember...
that was going to be what I mentioned, yep.
The original Unreal Tournament was one of the first games I played on my PS2. Which is not the way you want to play first-person shooters, but I didn't have a fancy PC back then, so it was kind of my choice.
Right.
The best Unreal Tournament game, though, is still 2K4. 2004 is the best Unreal Tournament game. Mm-hmm. That new UT game, which is currently still in alpha, is pretty good too. I have played way too many first-person shooters. I want to give a shout out to Black, the EA game.
Yeah.
Black.
Oh, I heard that was really good.
It was better than it had any right to be. It was kind of a nice little fun.
And it's backwards compatible now.
It sure is. That old Xbox, Xbox OG.
Yep.
God, I think of like Project Snowblind, having a good time with that. Counter-Strike, I got way into Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike was a game I played in college a lot.
I feel like Counter-Strike is one of those titles that if you looked at the history of first-person shooters, I think it's very influential. It's like one of those that like stands the test of time,
For sure. Yeah, and what Call of Duty 4 did to the genre made a real big impact on it. So
the first you talking about the first Modern Warfare?
Yeah. I'm sure I'll think of more, but do you want to do another round here, Justin?
Yeah, I can just do a quick round. We've already mentioned a lot of the heavy hitters, so I'm not going to go back and mention like Doom or Wolfenstein.
Doom 2016 is so good.
I was going to... That is on my list, so I'll just briefly say like Doom 2016 is, again, one of the best games, period. That is such a good game. I'll kind of throw another, not necessarily like top of the level, but one of the ones I spent a lot of time and I really liked. Is Titanfall and Titanfall 2.
I love those games. I love those games, man.
Titanfall 2 did what it was just more and better than Titanfall 1. And you got to remember Titanfall 1 was like really early in that Xbox One. That's, it was an Xbox One exclusive, and the first one, and then it was early in the life cycle. And I remember that was when I thought it was cool to make like clips using like the Xbox OG, like I don't even remember what it was called, the clips app or whatever. And I look back at some of those and I was like, holy crap, I was really good at that game. But it just never sustained the popularity. But Titanfall and Titanfall 2 I've always thought were really good games. And just they do things that, and a lot of that team, obviously, as we know, came from the Call of Duty franchises, and that's why a lot of people are excited, obviously, for the upcoming Star Wars game that team's making, and it could be good. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think Respawn did a hell of a job with Titanfall and Titanfall 2. I wish Titanfall 2 had gotten more love than it did. I think it's a really good game. Just being able to like go on that kill streak or get it, because it wasn't like it was super difficult. Even if you weren't good at first-person shooters, you could get a Titan relatively quick. Like it wasn't too difficult to get a Titan, and it felt so powerful as a Titan.
Are people still playing that game online? Because I bought a digital copy and I've never played it.
I think so. I was playing Titanfall a few months ago, Titanfall 2 on PC, and there was still a
Titanfall 2. Even the campaign, while short, is still a blast.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, eventually. The campaign is pretty fun.
It was like $7
Titanfall 1
during
didn't
one
have
of those sales.
Oh, it's worth $7.
Yeah.
Even for the single player aspect alone, like Titanfall 1 didn't have a single player aspect, right. So you literally all you did was it was like Black Ops. There is no single player aspect whatsoever, but you could definitely dive in and play. That game had bots, but like you could play. I played a ton with friends, but Titanfall 2, just the single player aspect is really fun, and then the challenges that they throw in there. But obviously the multiplayer is where it's at. It's so much fun.
Yep.
Speaking of single player in first-person shooters, everybody, of course, remembers how great LAN parties and things like that were for the original Halo.
Yes.
But my gosh, the single-player campaign for Halo, just the storyline, the story mode was so freaking fantastic. I'm not a big first-person shooter guy, but I was like addicted to Halo. And what made it so special to me was the fact that you could actually do the single player campaign cooperatively with a friend. I thought that was just bloody brilliant. But where do you think Xbox, not only the launch of the original Xbox, but where do you think Xbox as a brand would be had Halo not existed, or if it had existed, had not been as good as it was?
Without
do you think
Halo,
Jeff would be wearing an Xbox shirt today?
No.
Without Halo, Sega would own Microsoft. I was kidding. I think reverse roles where you'd have like Microsoft, or you have Microsoft games appearing on Sega's hardware.
That's a really good point. I didn't think of that when I posed the question. You're right, because Microsoft, I think, was a big reason why Sega decided to get out of the market. They knew Microsoft was coming, and most people were going over and siding with that. So if you took that Microsoft equation out, then maybe Sega would have stayed in a little bit and battled the PlayStation 2 a little bit longer. Maybe we would have had a Dreamcast too.
The Dreamcast's big problem was the lack of third-party support. Microsoft would be a heck of a third party to support you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Isn't that an interesting parallel with where Nintendo finds themselves right now with the Switch?
Yeah.
There's a lot of unique and cool games on that, as there were on the Dreamcast, but that third-party support doesn't seem to be there yet. That's interesting.
I'm going to throw out... I'm going to do rapid-fire games, first-person shooters, if I may.
Okay.
The PlanetSide games, PlanetSide 1, PlanetSide 2, are fun games. Free-to-play. If people want to play PlanetSide 2, it's out there. It's free-to-play. It's a fun game. The Serious Sam games, kind of taken off of the... the Twitch, kind of like the Duke Nukem style games. Let's see.
BioShock.
BioShock, yep.
Yeah.
Turok, if I can mention Turok.
Man, Turok. That was one of the first games that I rented back when I got my N64. I was like, this is going to be the baddest ass game ever. I was all right.
A game that's now backwards compatible on the Xbox One, Crysis.
Yeah.
Those games did, those three games did for the genre.
Crysis 1, 2, and 3. Justin,
if you like Left 4 Dead, I recommend Killing Floor 2.
Yes. I have it. Got it free on PS Plus, but I don't have it. I haven't played it.
It's fun, especially with Halloween coming up. The Borderlands games. I remember putting a bunch of time into Borderlands.
Yep.
Too bad that series went off a cliff. Hopefully it can revive itself.
So how did that series go off a cliff?
The pre-sequel was not good. So, one was great. 2 was still good. I think I think the comedy started to fall flat, and then the pre-sequel was just leaning too heavily into the dick jokes, and it just kind of went the route of a Duke Nukem Forever style game. I think they started to push the envelope too much to the point where I was like, I don't.
Interesting.
This is kind of
and that's like, but they did have success, even though it wasn't a first-person shooter. They did have success with the Telltale series, so it kind of kept that, I think that franchise alive. I think there's still legs there, but I think it's just go away for a little bit. Yeah.
If they announce Borderlands 3, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
The Destiny games, I know you guys want to poo-poo one up, but Destiny and Destiny 2 have been very impactful in first-person shooters.
They have. I wonder how long the magic stays, though. I mean, are we going to get a Destiny 3?
Yes. Yeah, I think they were saying a decade of Destiny when the first game came out. And Forsaken just came out. The big expansion for Destiny 2 just came out. And it's been getting rave reviews. So I think this will give it some more legs, and people will eat this stuff up.
I'm always surprised because I always ask myself how many people are really playing Destiny, and then I go onto Twitch and it's like, oh, it's the number 5 game. Yeah, it's like quite a few people are still playing.
Quite a bit, right?
Yep.
One game I'll give a quick rapid fire out to Jeff, and you may be getting ready to two of them, but one I'll say Team Fortress 2.
Yes, Team Fortress 2 is great.
And we haven't mentioned it yet, but Overwatch.
I was gonna get there.
Okay.
Justin,
so
take my spotlight.
I had posed the question of what was the first like online multiplayer first person shooter you got into. Justin and I were like Halo 2, but I don't think that I've really gotten into an online first person shooter since Halo 2 until Overwatch.
God, we could sit here. I'm going to table Overwatch because we can talk about that for hours.
Right.
And
I would like to talk about it for hours. So
say, screw it. All right, welcome to the Overwatch podcast.
I got really deep into Halo 3.
What is next for Overwatch?
Season 2?
They just said Overwatch League is starting February 14th.
Yep.
Which is a month. So last year they started in January. They're pushing a month back, and this is all a good thing. They have 8 new teams. I'm assuming they're going to do a whole new way of competing. They have a lot of changes to worry about, so I have no problem.
And we're in the free agency period right now, so people picking up new players and
Here's the thing. That means very little to me. That's cool that there are people playing, but I don't know. I'm not that interested in sitting and watching Overwatch on TBS. I can watch anybody play it on Twitch, or I can sit and play it myself.
Well, and that's weird that you mentioned that too.
What's from a gameplay standpoint? Where's the game going?
The constant updates. Right now, it's the Halloween event, so you can get exclusive Halloween skins and play exclusive Halloween mode. They always have these seasons where they have a theme for the season. They have a specialized mode, like when the summer games happen, they have Lucio Ball, which is a blast to play, and I'm platinum level Lucio Ball player. Thank you. But they keep updating. They add new maps. They add new characters. They do the Fortnite thing. Sorry to compare it to Fortnite. Overwatch is way better. But they keep updating it, and they keep giving you a reason to come back and play it as if it's a different experience.
Right. And it's kind of, even if you go back far enough into like even some of the Halo games when they would have like the different like, we're going to release like Oddball, and then it became a more frequent thing, or what was the different modes. Now you see with Overwatch that we're going to do the Halloween event. Oh, now it's the Summer Games event. Oh, now it's the winter whatever event, and that kind of keeps it fresh because then you get all the different gear that you can get for the different characters. Some of the gear for the Halloween character for Halloween, the Halloween event, the characters is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think right now we're just kind of in that little bit of a lull where we don't have any new characters being announced, but I would not be surprised.
Wrecking Ball just came out.
That is true. Wrecking Ball hasn't been that far back.
Do you think that there is an Overwatch 2?
Not for a while. They don't have
to.
I think with their updates, where they just add new maps, add new characters, add new things, this game can go on for a long time.
I hope it does. I don't think it's so good.
I don't think they need Overwatch 2.
So then how does that fit in with the next generation, whether it be stream service or these next consoles? Will they just do some sort of update to be able to allow you to backwards compat and you put it in and it's maybe updated graphically? Or do they do anything like that? Or does it only stay on this generation of console and PC?
They can release a version for the next gen consoles, but they have an ability, like they do with World of Warcraft. They can do they can go and do a graphical overhaul, whatever they damn well please.
Right.
For something like that, that's going to be digital. They can just do a graphical overhaul.
Right. And
make the game look even better, or bring it down if you need to downscale it for streaming purposes. They can go in and mess with that. And they have so many smart people at Blizzard doing this that this game can go on forever.
Right.
And I hope it does, because it is such a quality game.
Yes. That might be one of my favorite games of all time.
I agree.
It's one of the best games of this generation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're doing quick shout outs, let me do a shout out to a game that I think did the GoldenEye / Perfect Dark formula just as good, if not better.
I know what you're going to talk about.
And it's also a series that will come back. Time Splitters 2, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. Time Splitters 2. I had the GameCube version simply because, again, Nintendo 4 controller ports, and I knew I wanted to play with my friends.
Right.
But my gosh, that game, it was so cool. It was kind of like a precursor to Overwatch because you got to pick all these different weird characters. You could be like a monkey with guns. Yeah. And then you could, play multiplayer as a single player thing because you had a bunch of bots that you could add. But man, oh man, that game was so wacky and so fun. And it's criminal that game didn't catch on. Even though there were 3 titles in the series, it just didn't make those inroads.
I played a ton of the third game, Future Perfect. I played a lot of that one.
Right.
But yeah, it's made by some of the GoldenEye people. You could tell that it's the GoldenEye derivative. So
right. And Jeff, you briefly mentioned Duke Nukem earlier.
Yeah, I did.
But another game made by similar team that I really liked was Bulletstorm. Just some of the things he did. Bulletstorm. I don't know if you guys have ever played that one.
Yeah.
Bulletstorm was kind of on my list because they did some really cool things with like how you killed people. You got like different bonus points, something you didn't really see in a lot of older games, and tried to mix it up to where like the things you did were different and kind of kept it new. So it tried to keep it fresh. Now, it didn't have that big multiplayer aspect. It just had the single player part, but it was a fun first person experience. To kind of play. So
we will never see Bulletstorm 2. Just FYI,
I don't know. You had that remaster, which I wasn't even expecting.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna give a shout out to I think because People Can Fly. That was all Cliff Bleszinski stuff as well. Like there's a lot of Cliff Bleszinski influence on that. And if he's taking a break from gaming, we're not gonna see Bulletstorm 2.
Right.
I don't think that first game was
so.
The dude's dressing up as a furry on a private jet and blowing all his money. So I don't think we're going to see much from him anytime soon.
He's doing okay for himself.
Yeah. So what would be one game that you got, first-person shooter game that you wanted to like or played a bunch of and wanted to like, and maybe Time Splitters series is the one you mentioned, that just never caught on or was like, man, I really loved it, but it never became something? If you had to pick one. I know Dave might go with the Time Splitters series or Time Splitters 2, but
one game that didn't catch on with me, or one game that like should have. Well,
maybe it did catch on with you, but not with the public.
Yeah, Time Splitters would have to be it for me.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll throw Black in there just because I want to see what they could do with like a Levolution style thing for a Black 2 or something like that, or I was gonna say Body Count, but that's supposed to be good. Brink. Was
you just took mine. Yeah.
Did I go with that? Yeah.
Yeah, another
Bethesda game, Brink. I think that there was something that could have been done with that. It was kind of disappointing, but still kind of dumb fun to play. But
I feel like Brink was ahead of its time in a way because it had that parkour element and like the not necessarily the hero shooter, but kind of the hero shooter where you got to pick your person or your character and you went up against another team and you could switch the type of person you were in mid game and stuff. It had some elements to what we see from games like Overwatch now. And that it was a fast-paced first-person shooter, just never caught on. But man, I was so excited for that game back in the day.
I'll also say in that vein, Shadowrun Returns which was an Xbox 360 and PC crossover game that took the tabletop Shadowrun made to a first-person shooter, got class-based, and it just did not catch on. And I wish it would have, because there's some potential there.
Let me ask a couple more questions, because we're going to have to put a bow on this, because we're over 2 hours in. But
oh boy, sorry, kids.
Let me think here. I think I've got 2 or 3 questions. Question number 1: what is the worst first-person shooter you've ever played?
Oh, what is that one? There's the Dick Marcenko game. Rogue Warrior.
Okay.
I think that was bad.
I vaguely remember that.
That was bad. Oh, there was
no Daikatana.
I didn't play it.
Okay,
I think I knew better at that point.
What a piece of hot garbage.
Yeah, that was horrible. That game was horrible. Oh my gosh.
While you're
I
was going to say, while you're thinking, one last game I want to give a shout out to. One that was really influential. It was the first-person shooter, and in my opinion, the only first-person shooter to really be done right on the original PlayStation, and that is Medal of Honor.
Oh,
yeah.
I had so much fun with Medal of Honor, and that was definitely on my my most anticipated list for 1999 when that game came out. It was a big deal, too, because they were kind of treating it like Saving Private Ryan. Spielberg and DreamWorks Studio was involved with this, so this was supposed to be like a historical, really serious representation of World War II, and I think they did a great job. And obviously it launched not only the Medal of Honor franchise, but it also launched Call of Duty.
Yes, it did.
It did.
Sorry, you froze for a good...
Oh, shoot. All right, I was wondering.
7 or 8 seconds there. Try it again.
I was just saying, Medal of Honor did such a great job. It was one of my most anticipated games from 1999. It was a game that was being treated very seriously. It had the involvement of DreamWorks Studios and Steven Spielberg, and it was kind of being treated as like the Saving Private Ryan of video games. And it was just a fun game. It was done really well for the original PlayStation hardware. And obviously, they 2 years later with Medal of Honor, when that game came out on PlayStation 2, they blew that original version out of the water with that spectacular D-Day opening level. But it was an influential franchise in that there would not have been Call of Duty without Medal of Honor. So,
sure,
fun game.
All right, and one last game, and we won't even talk about it. And it's kind of the reason I say this is because we've joked about another iteration of this game coming, and how it's never going to come out. But another game that's in the first-person shooter like genre or realm would be Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's one that I really never played. I've got Half-Life 2 as part of the Orange Box, and
the Orange Box, yep.
I threw it in one day, and I have not really played it.
It's more just what that thing did to then spawn the mods, to spawn Portal, to spawn that Source engine making Counter-Strike and Day of Defeats and Portal and all that stuff. It's more just what that tech could do.
I think it was that, but more importantly, I think the contribution that Half-Life had to the genre was advancing storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick. Super Hot. People play Super Hot. That game is awesome. The Far Cry series. Basically, pick your Far Cry game. They're good games.
Never played a Far Cry game.
5 is really good.
3?
I keep forgetting 5 came out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly 5's great.
Yeah, I like it. Rainbow Six Siege is great.
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege is really good.
And Battlefield, pick your game. Probably Battlefield 2, for what that did for the team-based squad games. Is it the 2042 was not good, but other Battlefield games were good.
Last 2 questions.
Halo 5.
Last 2 questions.
So
yes.
Good.
Question 1: what do you feel has been the most influential first-person shooter?
In general or to ourselves?
In general. What has been the most influential / important first-person shooter to the industry? Yes, Jeff.
Quake.
Quake. All right.
I will say Quake because you can look up, and you could do the fast-paced shooting, and there's a convention named after it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great choice.
And it's still going on to this day. Quake Champions is still a thing that exists today.
That is true.
Hard for
Telefragging. Best rocket launcher
jumping. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. For what first-person shooters have become today, it's hard for me not to say Counter-Strike.
Okay.
I think Counter-Strike would be the one I would go with, just for what it's turned the competitive scene and the fact that we get a multiplayer-owned Call of Duty game now. So I think Counter-Strike for me would be the game I feel like is the most influential going forward.
Quake is a really good choice.
Quake is a damn good choice.
I think if I were to choose, I never played it, but I want to say Unreal was pretty influential. Even though it was derivative of Quake, they still...
Unreal Tournament, though, is good.
If it wasn't for Unreal, they would not have developed the Unreal Engine, and that is at the core of everything now. But
it is still my claim to fame. Unreal Championship for the original Xbox. At one point, I was top 50 in the world when it came to deathmatch.
Dang, dude. That's unreal.
Yes.
I played a lot of that game.
I'm going to say, besides Unreal, I'm going to say Halo, I think, is has to be on the list of one of the most influential games ever. It brought the first-person shooter genre into the modern age. It popularized console online play. It just feels like it took all the elements of other first-person shooters that those games were doing really well, and it just polished those up and gave everyone a standard for how to move forward with the genre.
And one of the coolest lines in a campaign was Halo 2, Master Chief. Where you going, Chief? Going to give the Covenant back their bomb. Loved it. That whole cutscene was amazing.
I mean, shoot, Halo spawned Red versus Blue.
Yep.
I mean, you know what? You might have convinced me that Halo might be my choice.
Wow.
Halo is very influential, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I bought an original Xbox just to play Halo. I wanted to see what it was all about.
Christmas Day, I got my Xbox. I went to Best Buy and I bought Halo.
Actually, my Xbox, I bought the first Xbox that somebody traded in. And I was just
nice.
Yeah, I was just like, well, I'll get a That's right, because we got a discount off of used systems. Not off new, but off of used systems. So that's why I bought that. And of course, I had to pick up Halo because, you're dumb if you didn't pick up Halo with your original Xbox. What are you thinking?
Exactly.
What are you going to play? Fusion Frenzy for the next 5 years?
NFL Fever.
I played Max Payne on my Xbox.
I played a lot on my Xbox. I got a lot of use out of that.
Oh yeah, the internal hard drive.
Yeah,
right.
Revolutionary.
Plus, just like any third-party game that came out on multi-platform, just played better on the Xbox.
Sure did.
Yep.
Facts of life. Yep. Final question before we wrap this thing up. Final question. What's next for the first-person shooter genre? How do they expand the genre? How do they keep pushing the boundaries of FPS?
I think the answer lies in esports. I think the answer lies in what first-person shooters can do for the world of esports, because that's what way we're shifting. And like I said, with Call of Duty has this big esports update coming out in December to coincide with their big esports event. Overwatch is the biggest esports FPS on the planet right now. Yep. Counter-Strike is still a big thing. So I think, the future lies in esports.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you 100%. The only other thing I could think of would, even though VR never really caught on, was trying to do something with VR. But I think a lot of that, too, is people can only stomach playing a VR first-person shooter for so long before you literally become sick. So I think that would be the one tail end to, or kind of negative to that. But I think esports seems to be the answer right now. Just everything, not every game needs an esports or needs a league or anything like that. But the big ones, the Call of Duties, the Halos, the Overwatch, the ones that we're seeing, You know, and even the fact that some of those are spawning you into like the fighting game community. Obviously, we had the Capcom World Cup and you know the different like the shows like on TBS and the different things that have been going on. Like you're seeing it become a thing, and a lot of that spawned from like that first person shooter original like leagues and the things that you've seen from that, because it's just something that was easy to watch and easy to play.
Yep.
You took both of mine that I was gonna say, esports and VR. To expand upon what you were saying, I think if there's a way to expand the interactivity of esports and first-person shooters, I think that will definitely help. And I'm not sure how that would look at this point, but...
Do you mean like, because we saw that demo at EVO on how you can interact, at least from a viewer on Twitch, or through a stream, and seeing the technology of hitboxes and stats right in your face? I think that would definitely help too.
Yeah, that would
something
be
like
cool,
that would be cool.
Or just different ways to interact with your favorite team or your favorite players and things like that beyond Twitch. Right. If they can bring a more casual audience in, a more casual passive audience in, and get them to be kind of active, I think that will help. And also if this idea of gaming as programming, if that takes off, where it's like Xbox launches a gaming network and they have, Monday night is Overwatch night, and we're going to watch Overwatch and we're going to focus on an Overwatch stream, and people can interact with it that way. I think if that is somehow implemented and takes off, I think that would be pretty awesome. And it wouldn't just affect first-person shooter genre; it would affect any genre.
Right.
But yeah, I think Justin, to your point, I think you're correct about VR. It's going to be hard to expand first-person shooters into that VR realm, because there is that motion sickness factor. So
sure.
Yeah, and I think while we are still a ways off from it literally becoming like you're playing like a real life person, like we've seen in movies like Gamer or whatever, or Ready Player One or something like that, where you're playing a character, and with VR and all that. First person shooters, at least the competitive ones, even like Overwatch, it's played most competitively on keyboard and mouse. So, I think it's tough to say that you would want to watch somebody that's playing, like you said, VR or on a controller over watching keyboard and mouse, because I can tell the difference. While I don't necessarily play keyboard and mouse when I play, like, I'm obviously like with Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, I'm going to play on my Xbox. I'm not playing with keyboard and mouse, but that's what you see. So I think right now, I don't know that, like you said, VR is the right answer. I think just esports is just kind of the right avenue for it. It just fits really well. I think fighting games and first-person shooters fits really well into that esports category.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up.
That's a show.
2 hours and 18 minutes into this sucker. Let's go ahead and get our final hot takes in here.
Oh, my hot take. Fortnite fans are the worst. Hot take.
Wow.
Flossing is for the dentist office, not everywhere you go.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Did you see the Ohio State marching band actually did the floss on the field? That was kind of cool. I'll give them that.
They made the stick figures, yeah.
That was cool.
I've played one game of Fortnite, and I just have not wanted to get back in.
I had a brief 2 months.
So, real quick, what are we playing right this second, Dave?
Still playing Spider-Man and testing out Project Stream, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay, real quick. Don't want to get too much into it. Is Odyssey as good as people say it is?
It's hard for me to judge because I don't have a lot of context with Assassin's Creed games. It's all right, but...
Are you having fun?
I'm having fun, but I think a lot of that fun is just me testing out the technology. I'm not like, oh god, this game is so good, Is Lord having fun? She hasn't really played it. She played it a little bit on Friday just to test out the technology, but she hasn't sat down and started playing it. So
okay,
I think that's the
I'm
next
interested
step.
in
Yeah.
in her opinion.
Okay.
Justin, what are you playing right now?
I'm gonna be jumping. I need to finish Spider-Man. DLC comes out next week.
Yes.
And 3 new suits.
Yes.
But I'll be jumping into Call of Duty not tonight because we ran a little long, which is totally fine. But this little bad boy called Mega Man 11 for the audio listeners.
Yes.
Mega Man 11 is overtaken my world, man. Holy crap! This game's a lot better than what I was even expecting it to be. So
looks great.
Yeah, I think it's great.
That's on my Black Friday list.
Can we have a first-person Mega Man shooter game?
Ooh,
that'd be cool.
I don't know if that would work, but then again, I didn't think before 2004 that a first-person Metroid game would work. So
yeah. Cool. Oh, we didn't mention Metroid Prime.
I know we didn't mention Metroid Prime.
These games are so good.
Yeah.
Oh, Metroid Prime 4.
But that is, I don't know if I would classify those as a first-person shooter. That's more of an adventure game that happens to be played in first person.
Okay, kind of like Elder Scrolls is a first-person RPG.
Right. Or like Mirror's Edge is a platform game that happens to be played in first person.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I'm playing Black Ops 4 a ton. I just downloaded MapleStory 2 and trying that out because it's free. But yeah, Spider-Man needs to happen. WWE still on my radar. But Soul Calibur is Friday, and my God, Red Dead is next week. Oh my God!
I know there's a lot of gaming.
Then games stop happening.
Yep.
A
lot of games to squeeze in.
All right. Yeah. Justin, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Level Up Justin on Twitter, Level Up Justin on Instagram, or just follow the at Nerd, or you can search for NerdBacon on Twitter or Facebook. I help with the social media on there, but other than that, that's really it. I will be getting back into streaming on Mixer, probably solely going to go to Mixer right now.
Wow.
All right.
So Level Up Justin on Mixer as well.
I gotta send you I'll send you the restream info so you can be on everything there.
Cool.
As for me, you can find me. My personal Twitter is at Dave the Watchman, and then I also will handle NerdBacon's accounts as well on Twitter. But yeah, at Dave the Watchman is probably the best place to find me as far as social media goes at Twitter, and then definitely you can find my work right here on the mothership, NerdBacon.com. And yeah, I hope you check out some of the awesome reports that we have been breaking lately.
As well as our fellow editors putting out great reviews. We had the review up for Battle Chef Brigade Up that came out recently. That
looks really great.
That looks like an Iron Chef style game that has me interested.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Jefferoth, the one-winged gamer himself, and of course all my stuff on NerdBacon.com as well, including my future review of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and my take on my time with the G Fuel stuff, since my new shipment's coming in next week. All right, that does it for this week's episode of the NerdBacon Podcast. I am Jefferoth.
And I'm Dave the Watchman.
And I'm Level Up Justin.
And come back here, same bacon time, same bacon channel next week on Twitch, on Mixer, on YouTube, hopefully, on Smashcast, on all your audio favorites as well. Subscribe, follow, and we will see you all next week. Game tasty!
Woo!